This is leading to such a fun place that I think we might laugh out loud that I've been contemplating. So I have 5 kids, and in the next 5 years, 3 of them will be of age to go to college or choosing whatever they're doing. And at the moment, we live in a place of massive ease and delight. And I have been debating if they need something else.
They need a lot more struggle and sacrifice. You've got to prepare those kids for the world. Baby steps. It's going to be hard for you to let go of those notions. It is for most.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so expand this. Okay, first of all,
if you teach your children to calibrate to the power of the universe, what possible downside is there to that? There's this downside. There is this one, what humans will call a downside. Other people who haven't figured it out won't like you.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the only downside.
Okay.
Because people think that hardship is important.
So I don't think hardship's important, but I do think...
Say it. I do think contrast is important. I don't think hardship is important. I don't think resistance is important. But I think contrast is important.
It has had a lot of value for me.
It does for everybody.
Focus, though. This is the part. It isn't so much the contrast, it's that the contrast makes you focus. I had a dream last night. I'm in the dream, and the dream was like going to a nightmare. And in the dream, I'm calm and steady, and I said, this is a dream. I could add anything I want to it. And so I would. And then, I don't know, some time would go by, and, the dream would sort of do this again, going into this place. And I was like, what? I already know this game. And then I would add some parts to it. So I'm wondering, the contrast focuses you.
We want to put a piece in here. That kind of vivid dreaming is such a good sign. When you have control of your thoughts inside of a dream like that, you got it going on.
I've got it going on. So, oh my God, yes, steadiness. As soon as you came out here and there was all this, I was like, I'm going to raise my hand. We're going to talk about steadiness. And that example is that, oh my gosh, I remember sitting in a Boston workshop, and my youngest was like a baby, and I was sitting in the 3rd row and looking at you, and I was like, I'm going to master this. I'm going to master this.
And do you remember why you wanted to do that? Was it for prestige?
I loved it.
Was it for prestige? Was it for appearance? Or was it because it was the most natural thing in the world and nothing else would do?
Yes. 100%.
Because in that moment, you were in concert with your inner being. That's what often happens in a gathering like this. Your observation and focus on what goes on here calibrates you to who you are, so that you know what your inner being knows. So when those awarenesses come to you, that's what it feels like to be calibrated to the whole of who you are.
And the vibration, living vibrationally, I feel like it is actually the step 6 of your steps, and it is not needing words, and it is living vibrationally. And the way that, I could cry about
We've been
this.
playing with step 6 a little bit, saying that that's croaking. Meaning that we don't need 10,000 steps. Step 1, ask. Step 2, source answer. Step 3, you let it in. Step 4, you really get good at letting it in. And step 5, sometimes you don't let it in and sometimes you do, but you know the difference and you know it's all of value. And then the next step is a resistance-free environment, which does not exist while you're in your physical body. It's all right to embrace not just contrast, but resistance too. Because resistance is guidance. Resistance produces emotion, and it's all necessary to mold the clay. Yeah? If you want, you can advocate for a step 6 and remain in your physical body. In other words, we're not adverse to you being the one exception. We will say this, if anyone can do it, it'll be you.
Thank you. The reason, okay, I'm like tearing up. I am so proud of the way I've mothered my kids.
Yeah, yeah. You know what that feeling is? That's your inner being's agreement with you. In other words, that feeling of pride, you're a little overjoyed with it. This is not resistance that you're displaying. It's a recognition of the whole of you. Not every moment of every day, but through the experience, knowing which way to go. You haven't been confused about what to do in a long time. You've known. You've operated with sureness. And so in the same way that we had that lovely conversation with our teacher friend, as you stand in that knowing, they are much more likely to receive what you're offering. And so they're not resistant to you. Sometimes.
And I'm not resistant to them.
Yeah.
Like the teacher was talking.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that like
yeah.
syncing up with them. Like I remember my firstborn was born premature, and just like the first time I held him and we synced up, I guess syncing together. What is that?
Well, he was already synced, and so he was already calibrated, and you in your open-heartedness calibrated to the well-being that he already understood.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who does the leading, does it?
No. Okay.
You could say and be equally accurate, I'm so proud of the way my children have attracted my parenting.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You were cooperative components to one another.
So I've had a calling that I'm to teach this.
Say more.
To teach about mothering.
Yep.
And when during your intro and the mother that you were talking about, and giving an example of the mother as the cooperative component, but not as God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something lovely about stumbling across the idea of letting the children lead the way, of letting the student attract the knowing. It's just so lovely when you let loose of the flawed premise of assertion and you really get it, that it's attraction. And then you see yourself, the teacher and the student are on equal footing of attracting from each other. The parent and the child are on equal footing of attracting what is, yeah. That's a dance.
That's a dance. It's really so good.
Enough?
Thank you, yeah.
Really good.